before we go to our closing statements, let us first hear Margaret Thatcher's own response to our charge when it was put to her the very day she stood down as Prime Minister and as leader of the Conservative Party.
Over her 11 years, the gap between the richest 10% and the poorest 10% in this country has widened substantially.
All levels of income are better off than they were in 1979. But what the honourable member is saying is that he would rather the poor were poorer, provided the rich were less rich. That way you will never create the wealth for better social services as we have.
We have heard the case for and against Margaret Thatcher, but before our audience decides, we hear a brief closing statements. First, B. Campbell for the prosecution.
The case against Margaret Thatcher is palpably proven. Her first speech as Prime Minister promised harmony and hope. And what she gave us was a war. She went to war against the majority of the people, the neighbours, the pupils, the students, the workers, the people, us. She regarded us as the enemy within. Thatcher and Thatcherism was never about a unified, healed society. It was always really about the thing that she really wanted: power. Having it, holding it, prizing it, she adored it. She flourished when she had it. Paradoxically, Margaret Thatcher appeared strangely and suddenly most human the moment she lost it.
Bruce Anderson, your closing statement for the defence, please.
She came from a grocer's shop, and there she learned her values. She knew that individuals could only thrive out of hard work, and that the same was true of nations. That was her great legacy to the British people. That's why every social group in this country got richer during the 1980s. That was why we had the best record of job creation in the whole of Europe. That was why she had a set of policies, Thatcherism, that are now followed throughout the civilized world and beyond. And that concept, Blairism, is just an illegitimate son of Thatcherism. It's Thatcherism with some new spin doctors. She was never all that good at being spun. She was too sincere. And finally, what she did finally, she put the great back into Great Britain.
So now, members of the jury, our audience of 250, drawn from across the country, it is time for you to reach your verdict. A fascinating moment. Tonight, Margaret Thatcher is charged with betraying the British people by promoting greed over compassion, the haves over the have-nots, leaving a country divided. Now, if you are convinced that she is guilty, I shall be asking you to vote yes. If you regard the verdict as not proven beyond reasonable doubt, you have to acquit her. So, members of the jury, what is your verdict on Margaret Thatcher? Please vote yes or no now. All the votes appear to be in, so on the 20th anniversary of Mrs. Thatcher's election to power, the people have delivered their verdict. Margaret Thatcher is guilty of the charge of betraying the British people. So the people will clearly remember the Thatcher years as a period when Britain lost its heart and the poor paid the price. I'd like just on your behalf to thank the advocates on both sides and especially you, the audience, for your verdict tonight. Thank you and good night.
Margaret Thatcher won time and time again.
She quite deliberately chose to use unemployment to weaken
to intimidate.
A tenfold increase of homeless families in bed and breakfast, people living years in accommodation without the stability for families.
She is, personally speaking, a deeply caring person.